Fire it up, footballers. Wow, that was quiet. That was quiet the entire time. Alright, let's put on some background music. Da, 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 da. Fire it up, footballers. We got Tyrus here on the line. I don't know why this is going right. Da, da, da. But fire it up. Welcome to the show. Awesome one lined up for you. We got some awesome things that Tyrus has been getting at for us. And we will start by taking a look and saying, hello, Tyrus. MenInRed will hopefully be joining us shortly. And so Tyrus is joining us via chat to keep their anonymity. But I assure you, I'm talking with Tyrus. They got the down low, the info on the Chicago Fire. Hopefully audio is good. Let me know how audio is, please, in the chat, please. Everybody in the chat, that's awesome. Welcome to the show. That's awesome to see you guys all here. Slow Days, Mike Delmet, and 13 other people at the moment live. Thanks for hanging out on this Saturday, this rainy Saturday morning. Hope you got your coffee. I do. Let's see and check in on Tyrus. Hello, fire it up, says Tyrus. Tyrus, awesome to have you on the show. Now, let's start off. So I know Tyrus has some awesome things lined up for us, and he wanted to save some of the best stuff for last. Namely, a little Seattle snippets, some stuff from Seattle that maybe, not a cloudy day. Seattle, Chicago, little connections. Maybe there's some connections there. And we'll get towards those towards the end of the broadcast here. But Tyrus saying, great to be here. Awesome to have you on the show. Tyrus, longtime, supporter. He always gives us shout-outs. We give Tyrus shout-outs. And we've been pushing for this... for the Section 8 Fire for Food food bank campaign sponsored by Section 8. It's pretty darn awesome. Is this the old one? This is from 2019 where people smashed it 101% from 2019. Let's go food drive this year. And right now we're already at 117%, smashing it. There might be an accounting error or two. Might have been a donation that was accepted multiple times. It wasn't taken out multiple times. It was just like it was calculated multiple times. But so awesome! If you could, please consider donating $1 there. $1 buys 3 meals. Every dollar counts, and it helps the people of Chicago. It's awesome. Helps our community. That is done by Section 8. So Tyrus and I have been pushing for that. Thank you so much for your help there, Fire fans. But I've been sending all your questions to Tyrus in the meantime. And he's been like David Foster Wallace on the on the typewriter, whipping up answers and getting everything back for us. So let's start off. Who should be coaching the Fire right now? And then I'll take a look back also at our other questions and get those going. Oh wow, yeah, we got quite a few. And letting Tyrus know. Alright, so oh shoot, I'm writing them on different spots. I gotta not do that. That's so Tyrus's opinion, who should be coaching the Fire, the Chicago Fire right now? Tyrus says anyone other than Wiki. I don't know who specifically, but Wiki doesn't seem to have it. Players don't play with great motivation at the moment, and that is a concern. Tactics seem cowardly at times, and I'll chime in here. I mean, he says that we're starting to see them happen, but their goal differential is horrible. Tyrus saying tactics seem cowardly at times, and pause and take a sip of coffee here. Reminiscent of Paunovic, who just got hired by Reading FC. Yeah, it does seem reminiscent of Paunovic because they're just, there seems that Jiggly's shouted this out before. Hump the ball forward, no plan. Don't know where the second or the third or the fourth pass is really going. Panic ball. Pauno ball, panic ball. And just kick the ball deep. Oh, thank you, everybody in the chat. Much appreciated. Thank you for confirming the audio is good. By the way, Morris to Chicago Fire confirmed. And Wiki was a signing of convenience, says Slow Days. Tyrus saying that on the plus side, we are more organized than under Pauno. There is more organization under Wiki, but just, a little bit more. It can't be that much more because we are just languishing in last place. There's possession without intent, Tyrus says. Oh, I like that. Possession without intent. And you need intent to score. And we've also seen that reflected in Beric really not getting the grade A chances that he needs to get on the score sheet and be compared with the likes of Pulido and Irving Lozano. Lazara. No, you know what I'm talking about. So, if not Wiki, if not Pauno, I say Winalda. What about CJ Brown? What about Chris Armas? What about Coach Nowak? Ahmed, to me, those are the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Nowak, Winalda, CJ Brown, and Armas. What do you think of that coaching staff? And then if we could get Lavelle Palmer on the weights. Nowak, Winalda, CJ Brown, and Armas, Lavelle Palmer. That would be an awesome thing. But, that won't happen as long as Nelson is here. Stranded on an island out there, often with nothing to do, Beric is. Beric is getting no service or any opportunities to hold up play. And that's his big problem. There's no connecting the midfield to the forwards. And we're asking Aliseda, we're asking Frankowski to do these things, and they're not able to at the moment. And Mihailovic has been relegated to the bench. By the way, the Red Bulls are not too thrilled with Armas's work, and that's why they did let him go. Tyrus saying that Armas he would pass on, but maybe the other people not so much. Nowak is interesting because I loved what he had to say on the podcast. Awesome podcast. I'll shout it. I'll put it in the details. He was on here for 5 hours. It was like getting a coaching course. He is a UEFA licensed coach. He's one of the only MLS winning coaches that's a UEFA licensed coach. I think Bob Bradley had to do as well because in order to coach for Egypt, but that's Africa, so I don't know. And UEFA's Europe. But anyway, back to Tyrus. Nowak is interesting because I loved what he had to say on the podcast. But at the end of the day, the GM can't hire a guy based on fan nostalgia. You got to hire a guy on results. And Nowak's got results. He's only won championships everywhere. He's also boosted every place he's ever been. But at the end of the day, the GM can't hire the guy based on fan nostalgia. I'm also not the biggest fan of hiring former players. That's an interesting thought, to hire former players, or to not want to hire former players, or to want to get new voices in there. Head coaching jobs are jobs that are meant to get you fired. Wow, that's an interesting concept, Tyrus. I appreciate that. That's very interesting. Head coaching jobs are jobs that are meant to get you fired. Let's make sure I got this going. It would suck to see a legend be part of the XYZ out movement. Yeah, and it does. I mean, look at Man United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And he's just... Oh, Ante Razov for coaches, Mike Damaska in the chat. Let's brighten this up. Awesome. Cool. So I got that going. It would suck to see a legend, like Ante Razov or Coach Nowak be part of some sort of movement where we want to kick him out. But, I think that if we got to give Coach Nowak the benefit of the doubt, I would love to see Coach Nowak back coaching the Fire. Him and Winalda would destroy MLS. But that's not going to happen with Nelson Rodriguez there. I know that specifically. With Nelson Rodriguez there, you're not going to get those two guys back. Though, guys, the Chicago Fire brought in both Winalda and Nowak within the last year to talk about the coaching job before Wiki was hired. They talked to them. I know. I have this confirmed 100,000%. And also, all for bringing on these players on as assistants, where they can grow, though, kind of like Klopas. But they did talk to these guys, Winalda and Nowak, and they ultimately went with Wiki. And that, I think that has something to do with Nelson Rodriguez, I suspect. But and we need to get Nelson out. That he's the biggest stopper to. That's a good point. Tyrus says, "What are Winalda's accolades as a coach?" I don't know. I think that he's a good leader, and he knows how to. He can get some things out of talent. Well, maybe he's the assistant coach to Coach Nowak. But I doubt they would butt heads. Oh, man, there'd be some. But also, tactically, they might kick ass or kick butt, I think. Slow Days, listen to BSI. They had Ronaldo on, and they talked about his time in Chicago and what happened in Las Vegas, says Luke Matthew in the chat. Thank you for that, Luke. Awesome friend of the show. Ronaldo is too big a figure to keep on as an assistant. You probably want someone with more accomplishments as head coach. These are great points. Nowak has won the league and also has UEFA license. So there's my campaign for Coach Nowak. Ronaldo has neither of those things. Has not won the MLS as a coach, and Coach Nowak also won it as a player for the Fire, which is awesome. So, Tyrus typing out a little bit more. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. By the way, smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell icon for more Spitting Fire. Support us here, and consider donating to the Chicago Food Bank. We got the Fire for Food campaign going, and we're already smashing it. You guys have been smashing it. It's incredible, the support for that. Thank you so much. We all greatly appreciate it. That's awesome. Great work here by the Chicago Fire community. Tyrus chiming back in, though. I generally like the idea of hiring foreigners as a head coach. They offer different perspectives on the game. Dutch coaches, especially Total 90 football, right? South America, Europe, doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter where they come. Speaking of South America or Europe, where is the next big DP coming from? If you could tell us. If you can hint. But also, a lot of these, Tyrus also chimes in that these coaches from other places don't understand MLS rules in the games and the way the tactics work sometimes. Wiki doesn't seem to have grasped that concept quite yet. But, it's only been 10 games for him. So Tyrus saying that potentially the big DP is coming from South America. They are scouting heavily there. By the way, Pano is up 2-0 in Reading in his first league game today. That's awesome. Pano is up 2-0 with Reading. That's good for Pano. Very, very cool. Very cool. So next big DP might be coming from South America rather than Europe, and that's Heights. And his scouting staff scouting heavily in South America. Let's go to some of your guys' questions, and because I had those prepared for Tyrus yesterday. So let's start with locker room. Let's Pano stuff. Let's start with Pano. Any Pano stuff? Any interesting Pano stuff? Speaking of Pano, he's up 2-0 with Reading at the moment. I wonder if Pano might have more success with a couple more, like-minded players for him to play with over at Reading. I don't think that there's so much of a hodgepodge of talent as the Chicago Fire were, and they might be able to better set up a plan there. So Pano, Tyrus says Pano. This guy used to bully Duty in training. Always picked on him. Seems to strongly dislike American players. Pano seemed to strongly dislike American players. Which is interesting because we saw Mihailovic kind of make his rise to the national team, but then also kind of get stifled at the same time. under Pano. Interesting. Heard he was, heard some interesting stories from Alan Gordon. Always went hard after the keepers, but he had his coach. Except for Crownholm? Why? Why? Always went hard after the keepers. He had the same coach for a while. You know, if you're always going hard after the keepers, you weren't getting enough out of that position. Mihailovic's dad coached Paunovic's kids. Wow. Did not know that. Very interesting. So, it gave Georgie the in early on. So that gave Georgie a bit of an in early on, is that since Mr. Mihailovic, Coach Mihailovic's dad, was coaching Paunovic's kids. Very interesting. She. Pano. And I also remember when they were training, he would yell at the guys to not pass the ball back to Richard Sanchez because he's going to fuck it up. I could totally hear him say that. Why would you do that? You got to involve your goalie. High level tactics, you got to involve your goalie. As some sort of, oh my God, that's how you could win in high school football and college soccer, is if you could utilize your goalie a bit more and just have them be that outlet, be that vacuum, not vacuum cleaner, but, just the get out of jail free card. Wow, that's crazy. That's horrible for confidence. And Tyrus is great for confidence, right? No, horrible for Richard Sanchez's confidence. We were fans of Richard Sanchez. He could stop the ball, but, when the ball came back to him in those positions, he would mess it up. And it sounds like he had a coach that wasn't exactly promoting a positive mindset there. Very interesting. Dax, Pano, and Basti. What was that dynamic? What was that power dynamic? Also, Slow Day is asking, what is it with the Chicago Fire and horrible keeper choices? Dax is a great leader, says Tyrus. Always there for everyone. Always there for everyone. Dax is a great leader, so it's horrible to be missing out on Dax here in Chicago, I believe. He brought a lot to that Chicago Fire locker room, brought a lot into that pitch. Probably better than Basti in that regard, Dax was, as far as leading. I mean, sure, Basti's got the captain of Germany, a World Cup, and also a Champions League, but, he had won it all. Maybe the fire wasn't there like it was for Dax, who wants to win that one last championship in MLS, who wants it a little bit more. But Basti's still, an elder statesman. Still awesome to train with, be around, I imagine. We miss Dax, says Slow Days. Nelson stinks, sucks for pushing him out. Yes, we got to get rid of Nelson Rodriguez. The other thing about Tyrus says about Dax is that Dax understood guys in the situation of minimum salaried players, a concept that Basti probably never comprehended fully. Yeah, these minimum salary guys, just not making all that much money, 60, making more like what we're making, and then maybe within the higher profile athletes for, good 5 to 10, 15 years of pushing their body very, very, very hard to the utmost levels. Play with guys who always had other options in their careers, whereas in Chicago, it could be an early retirement. And Basti really respected Dax. That's awesome. I wonder how did Basti feel about Pano and Nelson. How did Basti feel about Pano and Nelson? Tyrus working on an answer back. Still no MenInRed. Still must be sleeping. They FaceTime Dax and Basti. They'd FaceTime Dax and Basti. Wow. Dax and Basti, they talk. They'd group up. He was fed up with Pano and he hated Nelson. That's a big indicator. Fed up with Pano. You know, he gave Pano time. He got fed up and frustrated with Pano over time. Hated Nelson. And he once went to Dax saying that they should go to Hotman together to get Pano sacked. Wow. You heard it here first, boys and girls. Smash that like button for Tyrus. Support him on Twitter. Follow him on Twitter. I'll have his links in the description. Smash that like button. Subscribe for more Spitting Fire. But Tyrus revealing that Basti and Dax talked about go to Hotman to get Pano sacked. But Dax was finally getting along with Pano at the time and wanted nothing to do with that. Excuse me, I wonder if he regrets that now. But, you know, he had to give the guy a chance. These guys have families. These guys they want to win. Pano, you could never be excused for not having his passion. Pano wanted to win. Very interesting. So Dax, Pano, and Basti dynamic. Very interesting. Basti wanted to move Pano out because he got fed up. And Dax said, "Yeah, let's keep. Let's not do that. Let's not upset the woodwork." So Tyrus also back to the transfer. He won't give up the name of their number one target, but it's a young attacker in Brazil. There's their transfer news. There's their transfer hit. It's a young attacker in Brazil. Smash that like button. Follow Tyrus. And please support the Chicago Food Bank. We greatly appreciate all those things. If you got a moment to do any or all three of those on this rainy Saturday morning. And thank you, Tyrus. Thank you so much for joining us. This is so awesome to have you on the show. Vicariously, even though we're just talking with you like David Foster Wallace. Just keep their anonymity. This is awesome. So, Basti loved Georgie and Bronico. He was near tears in 2018 after the Houston game. He was in near tears. Neymar, young attacker in Brazil. The chat asking if it's Neymar. Is he Brazilian or does he just play in the Brazilian league? Well, I don't think we could reveal any more than that, Luke. But I'll re-mention it. We can't give up the name of the number one target, but it's a young attacker in Brazil. It's courtesy of Tyrus. Please smash that like button, everybody. I greatly appreciate it. Fans of Flames. It helps gets the news. It helps get this out to other Fire fans, and helps the YouTube algorithms find it and push it to the people who like Fire. So you do your part and we do ours. There's my pitch. Tyrus. Ooh, got some more stuff here. He also said that. He said that even though he was just a kid, he was never happy at home anymore just because they were losing. And losing ruined his mood for the week. Basti hated losing. Brazilian league and Brazilian player, but that's all. Yep, there it is from Tyrus. Brazilian league and Brazilian player. Thank you for confirming that, Tyrus, boys and girls. You could start your speculation. Hop on FIFA. Or, that actually might give you a good idea. Hop on FIFA. That should give you the top two Brazilian leagues and maybe show you some potential stuff out there if you sort by potential. But who knows if it's a potential guy or if it's a guy like Gaston Jimenez, who's a bit more established. Let's move on to some of your guys' questions that you guys were asking the past few days. Dax and Potty. Failed signings. You guys want to get into failed signings, missed hirings, or... Yeah, let's do failed signings. Any interesting failed signings? Pizarro. no, Pizarro. Who is that guy who Oracle always said, who always teases? Ben Arfa. Any interesting failed signings? Because we could talk about those, I imagine. And then I will ask some of the other things. Any? We already asked about missed hirings for the most part. Mentioned that they did interview those guys earlier at the beginning of the broadcast. Very interesting interviews. There was a Colombian who now plays at Porto. Diaz, I think his name was. And Heights never wanted Pizarro. Or maybe even Pulido or... Any of these guys, I wonder. By the way, everybody in the live chat, thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday morning. It is so awesome of you. Support Chicago Fire and come talk Chicago Fire with us here at Spitting Fire YT. Tyrus saying that Diaz was signed. Diaz was before he was signed at Porto. He was a target, but didn't get it. Luke saying in the chat saying I always would talk about Hector Marino. Would have sorted out the defense for us. Hector Marino would be a great shout. Is Jeff what's his face available? Jeff U.S. Soccer. What's his name? Jeff Cameron. Is Jeff Cameron available? He plays for QPR right now. Hector Marino they looked into, but they couldn't get him at non-DP slots, so it never got too serious. So that's the news on Hector Marino. Let's go to... Wait, where was it? Let me see your questions from yesterday. I have them collected here. Any news? Okay, here we go. Let's get those copied for Tyrus. But they offered for Hector Marino, and I'm going to let him keep going about if he has any other interesting failed signings. I wish that they talked to, personally, I wish that Basti had lured Philip Lahm to not retire and to come over to the Chicago Fire right when he was about to retire. Come play right back for Chicago Fire. That would have been so awesome. I'm surprised Basti couldn't lure anybody over. Arjen Robben. Tyrus is trying to think of any other interesting failed signings. Giving him a moment here. Before we lead into the next few questions. By the way, always appreciate retweets, likes on Twitter, help spread SFYT and Chicago Fire to the rest of the community of Chicago. Trying to think, but I usually forget about those. I told the Quintero story before, but I can bring it back up. Oh, okay, who's going to talk a little about Quintero? There's a few Quinteros, so. Is this Juan Fernando Quintero? Head scout at the time kept insisting that we should sign Quintero at all costs, and he was a stud, between 10 and 20 million. And quickly looked at by Europe once he was signed. This is not the Quintero that went to Minnesota. Rodriguez told him there was no need to sign him at DP. Yeah, he says Juan Fernando. Yeah, the one from, I think it was Porto, or Portugal again. Juan Fernando Quintero. JFQ. Rodriguez said he could get him under 1.5 million TAM. He said he could get him under for 1.5 million TAM. I think he went for 12 or 20. Let's look up Juan Fernando Quintero. Transfer market. Current value, 8.8 million. According to Transfer Market. He was... the River Plate got him January last season for around 3.5 million US. So, Pano really undersold there. And they gave him to River Plate in Argentina. River Plate, Plate. That's interesting. So Rodriguez said he could get Juan Fernando Quintero for under 1.5 million, and the rest is history. Had he just agreed to pay the DP money, we wouldn't have been played. I wonder if Gaetan would be here, and maybe Juan Fernando Quintero is a guy you could have flipped too. Luke Matthews saying that no, he was just made captain of QPR. No chance that Jeff Cameron comes back to the U.S. anytime soon. Very interesting. I'm going to shoot out these questions to a couple of your questions from yesterday as we start working down those questions that you guys sent us. Greatly appreciate that. And Tyrus is working on the answers. That is so awesome. No news about it, but I think it's for a training facility. So I was asking Tyrus about any news on that rumored land purchase up north. But no news about it, Tyrus says, but I think that it's going to be for a new training facility. So possibly to move out of Bridgeview, move up there. They also have the fire pitch, the Heineken 44 pitch, or whatever it is as well. I also think Soldier Field is planned for the short to medium run at least, and location is so very crucial to the next part of the Chicago Fire. It absolutely is. I totally agree. Location is very crucial to the next part of the Chicago Fire, the next piece of its history, because right now they are struggling for relevance in a city that loves soccer. According to Peter Wilt, 3 to 4 million fans, and I just feel like there's, between 50 and 700 real core Chicago Fire supporters. Maybe there's more, maybe there's a few thousand, but it just like the support really isn't there, and the product might not be demanding enough of a support of the support that we think that it should be. Location is so crucial, Tyrus says. So you can't just put a stadium for the sake of it. Location has to be prime. Just like I'll ask about Bridgeview. Let's see how Soldier Field does in the short to medium term. It's a stadium where you aren't capped by stadium capacity. You are if you're the NFL and the Bears because you can't host a Super Bowl, but not if you're the MLS. That's very true. So we can see over the years if we're a 15K attendance team, 20K, 30K, and we have been between a 10 and 15K attendance team over in Bridgeview in the suburbs. So we'll see how it grows annually or if it even shrinks. I know, there's a lot of suburbanites who might have trouble getting out to Chicago Fire games, and, other things, COVID is going to also impact that going forward, and very much so in the near future. We don't know anytime soon when we're going to be going back to actually really being able to attend games like we did en masse last year. I don't know how many years away we are from that, or how many seasons. It's pretty crazy to think about. And we might just be relegated to watching Chicago Fire and all these teams play on TV, which is very interesting. I wanted to note, by the way, Toronto FC playing the rest of its home games in Connecticut. Toronto FC not playing in Canada. Toronto FC will be playing in Connecticut the rest of the year, all of its home games. I thought that was very interesting. So some of these players might not even have to set foot at their hometown or their home stadium of their team ever in current COVID times, which is a very interesting concept as well. Don't want to, back to Tyrus here. Then, once you get all that data, then you, when you ended up with being a great team and regular 30K attendance, okay. No, this is what Tyrus is saying. I apologize. So, pardon me. Don't want to build a 20K stadium when you ended up being a great team with a regular 30,000K attendance. You don't want to be, I don't know who has that problem. The Blackhawks, because they can only put 18, 20K people in the United Center, and they have the highest attendance in the league, and maybe back during the really good times, they could have maybe packed it full of 30. So yeah, maybe you don't want to build a 20K stadium when you ended up being a great team with regular 30,000K attendance. Then once you get all that data, then you can actually determine what's the good stadium size for the team. You also don't want to build a 30,000K stadium if the crowd averages out to be a 15K team. But also, you want to be able to bring in big clubs, Real Madrid, high-profile names, Barcelona, Spain. You want to be able to bring in these high-profile clubs, bring in for some cool friendlies and shows for soccer fans as well. Rebrand will be for sure happening. It looks quite possible for next season. The yellow gets ditched. All right, boys and girls, logo time. Looks very, okay, here we go. Looks very similar to the Red Stars logo. Just remove the Chicago flag from their logo, from the Red Stars logo. Chicago Red Stars. So basically remove the Chicago flag from this, and it'll be very similar. Very interesting. The colors of the crest, boys and girls, smash that like button for Tyrus and follow him on Twitter. The colors of the crest are dark navy, sky blue, and red. Dark navy, sky blue, and red. Very interesting. but I still don't like it. It doesn't look like a Chicago Fire logo. And Tyrus thinks that's a big problem. Upgrade on current or side grade? Sandalo article today on Slow Days. By the way, just check out Brian Sandalo, friend of the podcast, writer for the Sun Times, or is it Tribune? I think Sun Times. Brian Sandalo. Sun Times. Sandalo article today says that Macedo says the logo will be here in 2021 due to the uniform rules. And we also had that confirmed by Tyrus just now. The colors for the crest will be dark navy, sky blue, and red, and it will look very similar to the Red Stars logo. Just remove the Chicago flag from their logo. The yellow is getting ditched. The logo is definitely worse than the Red Stars one, per Tyrus. It's a side grade, not an upgrade. Very interesting. Thank you so much for that awesome, cool little tidbit there, Tyrus, about the logo. That is awesome, everybody. If you guys could show your support and show your appreciation for that awesome little reveal, smash that like button and follow Tyrus on Twitter. Link will be in the description. Logo is definitely worse than the Red Stars. The Fire know what I'm talking about when I say there's one major change that they need to make or fans will riot. That's interesting. The Fire know exactly what I'm talking about when I say there's one major change they need to make or fans will riot. It'd be good if we can't have a new logo for it would be good if we can't have a new logo for next season so we can get a process going with the fans, which was the plan pre-COVID. And, you know, if Peter Wilt was involved, I'm sure that also would be the plan. Peter Wilt going to be involved in a NISA team in Chicago, the NISA League, which is an interesting thing, and trying to present some competition to draw soccer fans in Chicago there. Tyrus revealing, though, that was the plan pre-COVID, was to have some banter with the fans, some process going with the fans to come to an agreement on what the crest should look like. But that's been out the door thanks to COVID, basically, it sounds like. Harder to get together, harder to facilitate that. I guess I can understand that as well. So MenInRed can join now, by the way. Let's get him on the call. Let me check out the old audio. All right, MenInRed. I'm calling him. Could be back on the menu if they can. Oh, hold on. What is this saying? Could be back on the menu. Okay, so that plan, that pre-COVID plan of potentially working with fans on the crest could be back on the menu if they are unable to secure the new logo in time for next season, though. Despite Mansueto and Tyrus saying that, they basically have it all done. Uh-oh. What does it say? Could be back in the menu. Okay. Hello? Tyrus? Matt?
James.
MenInRed, I hear myself.
Yeah, boom. I had your stream on in the background.
So awesome. You're here. You made it.
I did make it. I apologize for being an hour and 5 minutes late, but I made it.
No, we've been having fun. No worries.
Good stuff. Can you see me? Is this a video call? Do you want my video on?
Yeah, if you want, I will secure it. And boom. If you want to put it on, I have it going.
See if my video wants to work. I got a webcam, so sometimes it just doesn't want to work. So we'll see if it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, it does.
By the way, smash that like button. Check out MenInRed. I'll have his link in the description on Twitter. Thank you for joining us here, us and Tyrus, on this awesome rainy Saturday morning. So you made it, dude?
I did.
Rough night?
Nah, not really. I slept through my alarm, and then I woke up. And Tyrus sends me a message, and he's like, "Get on, kid." And I'm like, "Oh,
where are you at? Where are you at, my son?"
I can't make Tyrus mad, so I got out of bed immediately, and we made it.
Slow Day saying, just zoom the logo groups. Hold on, let me check back in here with Tyrus. Anyway, so Tyrus was just revealing the logo what we just were talking about what it looks like. Logo's going to be worse than the Red Stars one. It's they basically looks like the Red Stars logo. They removed the Chicago flag from it, and its colors are dark navy, sky blue, and red. And because it seems like this was slightly rushed to satisfy fans who really hate the current logo, Tyrus says they might actually hold back on releasing it for next season and work with the fans to design a new one. But Mansueto did hint that they kind of said it's ready for next season, so they're in a limbo right now.
Well, you know what? I feel like this time they really can't afford to screw it up. So they need to take their time. They need to do whatever they need to do to ensure that the Fire fans are actually going to like this one. Because if it's what it, is scheduled to currently be, the new logo, the Fire fans just aren't going to be happy with it. And at this point, with the results being so poorly from the club itself and the logo being bad and the rebrand just not turning out the way they wanted, this organization needs something to be hype about. So you got to start somewhere, and you got to start with that badge.
Let's check. I'm losing my chat here. Okay, boom. Boom here. Chatting here. So you could see it too. Tyrus is chatting me on the back channels. Everybody, by the way, thanks for joining us here on this Saturday morning. And we were also talking about Juan Fernando Quintero earlier, as that Fire missed out on him basically for $500,000 or $1.5 million.
Should still go for him. Absolutely.
He's just chilling over in River Plate. Okay, so I got Tyrus back in here, and let's pull up some of your questions from yesterday, people. As I dig back into them, where did I put those? Is a target? We already answered about the target being from South America. Soldier Field is a short to medium term home. They're looking at it even as a long term home, but they might also look at other places. And Tyrus is telling us all about the rebrand. And let me see what the next few questions are here. Tyrus, which supporters group is your favorite and why?
That's a good question.
Boom. Somebody asked it yesterday. I thought it was great. Let's see. Who's your favorite Twitter account? That was you.
And there's only one answer. Fun fact, Tyrus only follows one account.
That's it?
And you want to know who that is, James?
Who is it?
Oh, it's me.
Oh, there it is. You heard it here first, folks. So Tyrus's favorite supporters group is Sector Latino. Love their passion and how they unite when it comes to supporting the Fire. Also enjoy Sector Latino. I love the sound they bring to the game. And the horns.
It's a good answer.
I got another question for Tyrus from one of our awesome people in the chat, or somebody from Twitter. So, by the way, I don't even want to mention this person's name, but he says a certain troll out in Twitter land is his favorite Fire fan. It's Don for Fire. Don. We who do not speak his name.
That's funny. What a legend.
So I asked Tyrus, what is the likelihood of that big signing occurring during this transfer window? How many changes do you think are going to occur during this coming off season? Tyrus saying that I think it's rather unlikely that they make the big signing during this window. I'd rather it's going to happen in the off season more than likely, and I think the window has got to be it's got to be closed. Is it closed now? I mean, their playoffs. There's 13 games left, MenInRed, in the season. They just released the part of the new schedule yesterday. There's 13 games left total. The Fire in last place, 14th or something like that. Out of the top 10 places make the playoffs. Oh, Tyrus chiming in here about Don. We hate on Don, but he's going to be our best weapon when we focus on trolling other teams rather than ourselves. Just need a winning team first. Don is a weapon when you face it in the other direction. It's true. But Hard to make signings right now with the visas needing to be issued and the struggles with COVID, bringing players across the travel restrictions that are being imposed. That's a good point. I imagine it's actually very hard to make signings. MenInRed, are you going to be going live before the game on Twitter?
That's a great question. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even realize there was a game today
It's
until
early.
I got a tweet notification from the Fire. It's like Fire Watch Party. I'm like, is there a game today? You know what? Yeah, I will. Absolutely. Why not? Let's go
There you
live half
go.
hour before Twitter. Let's do it.
All right. By the way, the game is at 2:30 today.
Yeah.
It is at
Weird.
Soldier Field against Columbus, and it is. I thought it was on something else. I thought it was on different TV today. Let me confirm that.
Oh, it's Univision.
Correct. It's on Univision
Oh
and
crap! It's
TUDN.
Univision.
I do
Univision.
believe TUDN. I thought that it's on Twitter. It's on Twitter too. At TUDN USA. There's going to be a Twitter live stream of it. So if you don't have broadcast TV, I think TUDN is on broadcast TV. But also they'll have the live stream going. And also it'll be on Spanish Broadcast Radio on 105.1 FM.
I don't have cable or actual Univision access, so I really hope it is on Twitter.
So Twitter live stream, it'll be at TUDN USA. I'll tweet that out.
Good stuff. Awesome.
So let's see. Tyrus might be typing something. We're starting to wind down on our questions for Tyrus. Everybody in the chat, if you have any other questions for Tyrus, you can start pummeling us now. I'm going to look at some of their other past ones as I think we're starting to wrap this up here. Just wrap up some of these questions. Let's see. Ooh, what is with it and what is with the Chicago Fire and horrible keeper choices?
Is that a question for Tyrus?
I'm asking him.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to put that in there. And I'm also going to see if there are a few more. We talk about Pono. Oh, yeah, here. I got a few others. Ooh, Peter Wilt stuff. Yes. Okay, I got some good stuff here. Boom. Okay, I got the last bunch of questions. It's chock full of stuff. Also, going to tease this one more time. We got some awesome stuff that Tyrus has not revealed yet. Saved up for the end. Expect some fireworks. I'm talking Seattle. I'm talking rain. I'm talking GM presidency issues. I'm talking drama. And
I love where this is going.
That'll be in 10, 15 minutes here, everybody. Okay, back to Tyrus. Oh, I hope I don't get copyright for that.
Oh, fine.
Nelson and Pano's weakness, choosing goalkeepers. Kronholm was a Paunovic signing. Who was the Jorge Bava a Paunovic signing? Heights has not had that opportunity yet. Heights has not had the opportunity to bring in a goalie yet. We could say that they picked a good backup in Shuttleworth, and Shuttleworth's shown some awesome flashes. Better keeper coaches now too. There's better keeper coaches here now too, instead of Pano's keeper coaches, so they can help actually identify talent. Saric was not rated by our keepers at all as a goalkeeper coach. One of our former keepers once told me that they had a better high school keeper training. They had better high school keeper training than with Saric.
That's great.
That's insane. MenInRed, can you read the chat here? Can you read everything here? I'm gonna take off for a second. I'm gonna go pour myself a new cup of coffee.
Yeah, let's see what we got here. Yeah, that's all he said regarding goalkeepers, but I don't know. Tyrus, what do they think of our new goalkeeper coach, Brown? Do they think more highly of him? What's the status on that? No. James has the Star Wars anthem stuck in my head. Also want to make sure people can hear me. All right, there we go. Tyrus is typing. He could hear me. We have a different group. It's from Tyrus. So they didn't have Saric. Kronholm is a bit indifferent. Okay. And do you think Kronholm will be the starting goalkeeper? Granted, he's out for a year, but when Kronholm comes back, do you think he will continue to be the starter, or do you think they're going to bring someone in? He's old enough to not really rely on coach anymore. Fair enough. He's what, 34, 35, something like that. Yeah, he has his own routines, doesn't necessarily follow the goalkeeper. Now, do you think he'll continue to be the number one, or do you think they're going to go utilizing one of the homegrowns, or doubt it? He doubts it. Tyrus doubts it, guys. Papa Tyrus doubts it. He's typing right now. Oop. Salary will probably bump up to 600 to 650K, I think. Oh, you might want to get that off the books quickly. Yeah, you can't keep him at that salary. That's a good call. I don't think many people realize that Kranholm is on that high of a salary. That's going to affect a lot of the moves you make in the future. They'll sign someone, I think. Okay. Now, in MLS, it's really interesting because it's so hard to find the right goalkeeper. Like, even at LAFC, when they signed Vermeer, they're like, oh, good goalkeeper. And now he doesn't even start anymore. So they got to nail it right. It's really hard to do. Tyrus, do you think they should go for a proven person in MLS or take the risk and go outside trying to find someone foreign? Salary should come out sometime this month, so we should be able to see what Kronholm and the rest of the Fire roster is actually making. Nelson did some moves to get the first-year cap hit so low. Okay. Like what? What did he do?
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back, James.
Awesome little tailgate that we got going here, everybody, in the chat, and MenInRed and Tyrus. Little virtual
Doesn't
tailgate.
matter. Keepers, yeah, this is awesome. Doesn't matter. Keepers are keepers. Okay. And keepers are always, in my opinion, the weakest link in the MLS starting 11 or the center backs.
Yeah, center backs. Center back. There's a couple good keepers like Robles. I mean,
Robles has been consistently good. Yeah, Hamid. It's a shame he's on a terrible team.
jeez, if we could have got Hamid over here.
Oh, I would have loved him. Salary cap magic. Yeah. LOL. Yeah, no, we were just talking about how hard it is to actually nail the goalkeeper in MLS. The toss-ups, like there's a couple new good ones though. There's the guy down, the Peruvian guy in Orlando, what's his name? Galice. And then the Columbus goalkeeper is actually really good.
What do you guys think of Titon? The Polish goalkeeper for I think it's Cincinnati or
Oh yeah, for Cincinnati, yeah.
It's one of those Ohio clubs.
No, it's Cincinnati. Yeah, Columbus has a new guy. His name's like Room or Proom or something like that.
Oh yeah, because they lost their stud keeper to Europe.
Zach Steffen, yeah, who was very good for Dusseldorf last year. So good for him. Good for him.
Kronholm is an odd one because he was doing fine in Germany and then he comes here 2 weeks later.
Who did he play for in Germany?
To look that up. By the way, Titon is solid per Tyrus. I'll find out in 1 second for Ken Kronholm. He played for Holstein Kiel. Holstein Kiel.
They're not Division 1, are they? They're definitely not Division 1.
Holstein Kiel is in second Bundesliga, yeah.
Hey, check this out, Cam. Look at the video, everyone. I got something really cool.
You got it?
Shameless plug.
Sick! That's awesome, dude.
Sorry, had to do that.
If you want to get some stickers, get at MenInRed. He's got some
stickers of bees.
He's got some cool logos here. Have you been reading any of the chat, the live chat?
I have not. Let me go over to it real quick.
Let's check out the live chat real quick. JVP Tube checking in. How does Tyrus feel about Collier? How does Tyrus feel about Collier in his past couple performances? Is there any potential signings that are almost through for this window besides Tehran? Luke said, by the way, Luke, he said no. It doesn't look like there's going to be any big moves. Not any big signings anyway. Maybe small. Giant Bava. Like a giant comic. That was definitely Stephen Cleveland. Bava was the best goalkeeper just because he knocked out a riot cop. Calvo will Calvo be back in 21? I hope not.
Wait, Bava.
Bava knocked out a riot cop on the field.
God.
You could look up a video. It's nuts.
That's kind of funny.
So checking back in with Tyrus, but second division Bundesliga players have had a great track record in MLS, except for Kronholm. Collier is a good end of the roster player. Your 20 or 20th or 21st player who makes the 18 because of injury, but he really shouldn't be starting ever. I heard he has pace. I heard he's faster. He's faster than Frankowski.
Collier?
Yeah. Bava
Wow.
would live right next to Toyota Park. Oh, that's horrible. Bava would live.
That's right. He lived in Bridgeview. Yeah.
Broderick,
That's funny.
you could have. I bet you could have gotten somebody in Bridgeview who was better. Nah, Frankie is
Think
definitely
so?
faster than Collier. Per Tyrus. Very interesting. Is Calvo back in 2021?
I don't think they re-sign him.
Frankie was never fast, though, per Slow Days in the chat. And,
Whoa.
and by the way, Slow Days saying that Room had an amazing Gold Cup. Should have signed him then. And also,
Slow days.
Luke in the chat saying Spencer Ritchie is better than Titon. What Slow Days?
Slow days. Frankie, the only thing he has going for him is the fact that he is fast.
I think he's strong, but I want to see more.
Yeah.
Everyone living in Chicago, and then there's Bava living in Bridgeview. Calvo's contract is up, I think, but I'm not sure they want to bring him back after his performance this year. And he's not a captain like Dax. Dax was an awesome captain. Franco was Iggy fast. He was only thought of as fast because the media talks say so. He never uses his speed on the field. I agree. I haven't really seen any of that Frankowski pace on the field yet. I'm waiting for him to put on the burners and just streak a guy, you know? Like Tyreek Evans just gone. I haven't seen it once.
Yeah. It's sad. We need more from him. Polish internationals. A lot of people are saying that Polish league and being a Polish international in general are overrated, but you would think that there would still be some talent for a player like that in MLS.
MLS outside backs do have a decent outside backs in general are starting to show more pace than usual. It's like kind of a thing that's becoming more and more important in outside backs to cancel out those crazy wingers. Kappelhoff will probably be gone eventually. The Swiss do not rate him. Wow.
Unfortunately.
So Kappelhoff will be gone. They don't rate him, and plus he's injured, so it's hard for him to kind of make his way back like that. Another person in the chat saying, JVP Tube saying, Frankie has performed worse this season because he doesn't have that space in front of him anymore in Wiki's system. And Wiki depends on him to score. Injury updates. Unlike under Pano where he countered more. Under Pano, Frankie countered more. That's a little bit true. He's gotten shots. Dude, there's been a few shots where Frankie should have buried it.
Wait, Tyrus just said, don't love his attitude, quad injury.
So we're talking about Georgie?
I'm not sure who he's.
Yeah, he's talking about Georgie. All right, we're talking about Georgie Mihailovic right now. So MenInRed just asked, did you confirm that Georgie was starting like I did? No, I haven't even asked yet for today, but don't love Georgie's attitude.
I don't know if that was in reference to Georgie or not, though. Let's find out.
Hopefully he'll confirm here.
Cap.
It's for Cap. It's for Cap. Apologize. Sorry for dealing with us here, folks, in the chat as we maintain Tyrus's anonymity.
The way it should be.
The way it should be. Keep our caped crusader hidden. Our secret Chicago superhero insider. So Cap, they don't like his attitude, and that's an issue there. I wonder, and also there's been issues with Georgie. We know that.
Oh yeah, there will always be issues with Georgie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did I post these questions yet? Boom. I got these questions ready to go. So I'm asking about Peter's potential soccer team. Are they worried about them? It's a NISA league. It's not MLS. I don't think they are, but at the same time, Peter Wilt knows how to build an attractive product. Ergo,
absolutely. He should be threatening, in my opinion.
I mean, first of all, it will be threatening. It 100% will be threatening because look what he's done to Indy and look what he did for FC Madison. Both of those jerseys and those kits and those crests. Awesome. He's gonna sell jerseys in Chicago where Chicago Fire are like, what? People actually want shirts? I'm wearing, nobody can see it right now, but I'm wearing my black Chicago Fire jersey with the Chicago Fire flag, the blue flag on the sleeve. It's that awesome third kit from like 2014 or something like that. I don't know, somewhere around there. It's one of the best kits. I always get compliments for wearing it because it's like, oh, it's City of Chicago, it looks awesome. And they don't do that stuff.
Nope.
Wilt's logo and his branding will be on point for the City of Chicago, and that's what Chicago Fire need to get right. And they haven't yet. Kappelhoff's issues are, this is per Tyrus, Kappelhoff's issues are different than Georgie's. Georgie suffers from being overly cocky. Kappelhoff is just very indifferent about everything. You know, no pro-rel in MLS. And I doubt that Nisa will really be a problem. It's a minor league. You think Euro snobbery is bad when it comes to MLS, but Nisa won't even get looked at. You know, I mean, unless they got a cool jersey, right? That's the only way they're going to get attention is if they have a really cool
if
kit.
they get a cool jersey, I'm buying the cool jersey. That's all I'm saying.
Right? Absolutely. I mean, look at the Red Stars jerseys. Look at the Red Stars jerseys.
Jersey, yeah. I bought the neighborhood kit, the one with all the neighborhoods of Chicago.
Oh, it's so sick. I wanted to get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that still available? Because I'll still try and maybe get that.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
That one is awesome.
ChicagoRedStars.com.
The most recent Chicago Fire jersey that I did get, which was really cool, the 4th of July kit. From last year.
Yeah.
That one is an awesome Chicago Fire. I do really like that one. That's actually pretty darn cool. Back to Tyrus here. Nisa is not going to be a problem. It's a minor league. So, you know, the Euro snobbery will be high. People won't bother unless, you know, there's a cool jersey or a cool crest. But, and he also thinks Tyrus still says people still won't bother. There's just not enough to really impact the Fire there. I wonder if there'll also be any involvement. We've heard that rumored, or if that's now over with the Cubs owner, Ricketts. Unless he's crying poor and he doesn't have money anymore. Who knows? But people still won't bother. There's just not enough there. Nassau's probably would have been the only potential threat at Lincoln Yards, and only because we had played at Bridgeview at the time. So Nassau could have been a threat. The level of players they brought, you know, kind of just under, well, USL, Nassau, all that stuff, under MLS. But you could still bring a little bit higher form of player and get something going in there. But that was when Chicago Fire were playing in Bridgeview. No longer. Now they're in Soldier Field. So, doesn't really think Peter Wilt will be a threat. I think that Peter Wilt's going to attract a few more eyes and a few more dollars. But, yeah, you're right. Maybe you're right. What you thinking there, MenInRed?
Yeah, you know what? Peter Wilt, he's really freaking good at what he does. Really good. And that alone kind of scares me, but it is the NISA. If it was USL level, different story because it's a little bit higher. But because it's NICA, you know, it's going to take a while for there to actually be any substance to the team and them in terms of like supporter relations and making fans throughout the city. So the Fire are going to have time to make amends for what they've begun to do with this rebrand,
True.
Which isn't much. And they still will have the ability to show Chicago why they are the primary team everyone should support. And I'm the type of guy who's like, listen, you could go ahead and support the minor league team while being a fan of the major league team. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I know there's a lot of people out there that would disagree with me, but as long as they are staying away from my Fire, like, hey, go to a game, support them. It's always great to have more Chicago soccer.
Absolutely. And God forbid if they have a cooler jersey, you start seeing more of those jerseys pop up at Fire games. Ricketts was a move to attempt. Ricketts' move was an attempt to maybe buy the Fire by threatening to start a Nassau team in Chicago. But Mansueto got him instead. Wilt will get some of the old Fireheads, but how many of those truly? The Chicago Fire moved to Soldier Field to attract the average soccer fan in Chicago who wouldn't bother going to Bridgeview. Mm-hmm. These guys won't go a bit out of the city to see a minor league team. Unless they got
Yep.
that Lincoln Yards property.
Oh man,
That
that would
could
have
be-
been so nice. I remember that rumor.
That could be dynamic.
It's a pretty big stadium for a minor league team, though.
If you see the picture on the screen, I do have the awesome third kit, Chicago Fire third kit here. Oh, here's some old Chicago Fire kits. Very cool. But damn, that Chicago Fire black kit. I love that one.
I got the black one with McGee on it.
Oh, look at this 2014 Red Stars one is so cool too. Just the straight up Chicago flag, basically. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Any chance that I'm just looking at the chat right now? Any chance that Chicago Fire 97 are looking at Michael Vang's play at forward medicine? I've heard his name thrown around a lot. I don't know much about him though.
They
Have you
better
heard
be
about him,
scouting
James?
forward Madison. They got a couple
Yeah.
guys up there, right? So
Yeah, one guy I want them to get from USL levels is Solomon Asante from Phoenix. Guy's insane. He shouldn't be playing the USL.
say his name again.
Solomon Asante. He's
Solomon
like he plays with all those guys over at Phoenix, all the ex-Fire players over at Phoenix. Really talented
You know
player.
who's been quietly getting time? Brian Rodriguez.
Yeah, good for him. That's what happens when you don't have many
Homegrown.
options off the bench, though.
That's nuts. And meanwhile, Moni up in Madison also getting some time.
Monis, yeah,
Monis?
he's doing well.
That's good.
Good friend of mine. I'm glad he's succeeding.
I'm gonna check back in Tyrus here. No way Nisa gets that level of prime property. I bet they'll be in some suburb, or maybe just Bridgeview. How long until Carlos Terran time? Third kit, best third kit ever. So they say, any chance the Chicago Fire looking at you said Michael Vang?
4 games, 2 assists, and 2 goals. That's not bad.
Is he linking with Moniz?
Could be. The best 1-2 pair in all of American soccer.
Let's go.
Alex Monis and Michael Vang.
Pair him with
That's
Brian
awesome.
Rodriguez. Bright future for the Chicago Fire.
You mean Brian Gutierrez?
Brian Gutierrez. That's who. What was I saying? Brian Rodriguez.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not just making sure.
Yeah,
We're on the same
yep,
page.
Yep. Brian Gutierrez.
Good stuff.
That's
Best kit ever in the MLS. Oh, my favorite kid in the MLS ever was 2017, I think it was. Sporting KC's third kit. I think it was 2017. That's the coolest kid ever.
About Carl. Do you want to send it to me so I can show everybody? Also, how long until Carlos Terran time? And Tyra's saying that he tried calling Donnie Trump, but he won't answer the calls. No clue on the visa, and he doesn't have a number yet.
So quite a while is what we're hearing.
So, what number will he take in the chat? What number will Carlos Terran take? 2's taken, 4, 5 taken, 24 taken, 26 open. The 2000 Chicago Fire kit is the best kit ever per Tyrus.
He's right, and I've been looking to buy one of those kits for so long now and can't find one. I'm on the hunt.
There's some old classic kit place that online I forgot, but
Classic shirts or classic football shirts or something like that.
oh my god, I want to get like a Carlsberg Liverpool jersey from the aughts or the 90s.
Love it.
Owen on the back.
Oh, man, I'm young. I wish I was alive for 90s soccer.
Batitusta. Zidane. Let's see. Asking Tyrus a couple more questions here as we start to wind down. Everybody, thank you, by the way, for joining us today on this awesome Saturday morning as we tailgate and get ready for the Chicago Fire match. I don't know if you have a beer, a water, or coffee in hand, but cheers. Regardless, hopefully the Fire
Cheers.
can pull it off today against that yellow team.
It's going to be hard.
Luke Matthews saying Liverpool up 1-0. Penalty for Salah. Homegrowns. Tyrus chiming in about the homegrowns here. Homegrowns, we'll see. I'm sure they'll always look to sign as many of those talents that they can every year because Mansueto is putting an emphasis on the youth, especially if one of these guys becomes good. This is a bare minimum investment where you could sign a guy that from your youth team, potentially flip him for half a million in MLS, Gam Tam, maybe this guy becomes good. Maybe this guy's a Gutman. He should be starting somewhere in MLS, you know?
That's a good question.
Georgie is under contract. Brant Bronico, should he be starting in MLS? He's got the passion and the fire. I'd like to see
No.
I'd like to see him getting more time, but
He's one of those players, in my eyes, where you stick him in and with 20 minutes left to kill, or even 10 minutes left to go in there, run, mow down people, be aggressive. Everyone's on tired legs. You need him to be the difference.
Speaking of subbing, I have seen an adjustment, at least I think a little bit. I'm seeing more coaches using their 5 subs. I'm seeing them use 2 or 3 subs kind of early, like maybe around the 50, 60, 70th minute. They'll use their 2-3 subs right then and there. And then you have 2 extra subs going for that 75th, 80th, 90th minute when you see you basically see other 2 guys dying on the field. You're like, oh, there it is.
Yep.
Grab those 2. You got 2 extra. 5 subs is huge. But also, I mean, Coach Nowak always talks about this. Tactically, when you put 5 different guys out there who haven't been playing the whole whole game, it's hard for them to click sometimes. Hard for them to tactically get the same plan going. Hard for them to know what's been going on in the game that maybe the guys on the pitch know. Like, a couple of those, oh, this guy's been trying that trick all game. And then you get out there, and all of a sudden, boom, he tries that trick on you, and you get blown by. Sorry, I'm Arch and Robin. And you know what direction I'm going, but it don't matter.
Yeah. I've gotten so accustomed to the 5 subs rule. It's kind of weird now.
I like it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Coach Nowak hates it. Georgie is under contract, but he has an extension on the table. Very interesting. Bronico should not be starting, but he should definitely be in the 18. Spot starts for rotation or for injury. Wiki doesn't seem to trust anyone on the bench except for Collier and Georgie to some degree. He really doesn't want to touch any of the other guys, but Wiki loves Gutierrez. What about CJ? Always hyping up Gutierrez and chaining Wiki is. That's interesting. It also sounds like Wiki's a bit more positive of a coach. I'm going to ask about that. Sounds like Wiki is a more positive coach than Pano. And I wonder if that's a good thing. I wonder if that's a good thing. I imagine it is. CJ is open to returning on a lower salary. CJ's not angling away.
I think he'd be a great piece on the bench. If you could get him for a lower salary, a multi-year lower salary, keep him.
I'm going to ask him who should start, CJ or Baric.
He's a big
form.
guy.
I think it's form. I think you try both. Whoever gets going, you go. You got to try both. Yeah. Yes. Wiki is not as negative as Pano. And it is a good thing. It's a good thing for this team, which is, it's just a bit more positive atmosphere to go work in right now, even though they're languishing in last place. And nothing seems to be clicking exactly.
That's okay. It's not okay, but, please figure it out soon.
Slonina and Brady are already U.S. youth national team keepers. They will be 100% become something for the national team. I'm going to ask about Mo Adams here. It's frustrating for some players because they feel lost and positivity doesn't really tell them what they need to do to get into the rotation. That's interesting. So it's frustrating for some of the players, the Chicago Fire players, because some of them feel lost and the positivity doesn't really tell them what they need to do to get into those rotation. Baric over Sapong. So start Baric over Sapong, but play CJ on the left wing. What, over Frankie?
No, over Herbers.
Or Herbers? Or
yeah,
Georgie?
Herbers.
Sapong. Oh, I guess Frankie's on right wing, but
Yeah.
I don't think Frankie's deserving of a starting position right now. I think he's got to re-earn it back out there. Maybe I'm
Fun
wrong.
fact, he's not starting today.
Wow. Is the lineup released?
No.
Oh, but you have an idea?
Lil Bird that Georgie's starting over Frankie today.
Ooh, little bird told he.
Lil Bird.
Tyrus saying that start Sapong on left wing over Fabian Herbers. But keep Aliseda in the 10. I'm hearing Georgie is starring. We can't reveal the starting. We really probably can't reveal the starting lineup because we don't want to give the other team tactics. And yeah, not that imagine anybody's going to be listening to the podcast.
Columbus Crew head coach Caleb Porter's just sitting in listening to what we have to say. That'd be so funny.
Yeah, but oh my God, if Coach Porter, if you're in the chat, let us know. Smash that like button. Shout out Coach Porter. Trying to scout Chicago Fire. I know that'd be awesome. If you want to come on the show, Coach Porter, that'd be really cool. But he's not.
That would be cool. Are we allowed to have the rival coach on the
Heck
show?
Freaking yeah! I reached out to
Yeah,
Pano.
you're right.
I reached out to Pano, but he's not going to come on the show. He's working hard with
over at Reading. Yeah.
But I did put a leaf out to Pano to see if you want to come on the show. He did not respond back.
Damn. That would have been interesting.
It would have been interesting. I mean, that's the thing. We've had some awesome people on the show.
You have. That's for sure.
He would not be out of the realm. So hearing Georgie started today. Yep, MenInRed told me that yesterday. Ooh. Let's find out. 23 players. I think we've answered most of these questions here, boys and girls. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us as we're starting to shut down here. MenInRed, do you have any extra questions?
To Tyrus, oh man, I'm put on the spot here. I don't think I have any questions for Tyrus besides who the heck are you, man?
Who is Tyrus?
Who is Tyrus?
Let's just clip this part of the video. Who is Tyrus? Who is Tyrus? Is Tyrus male or female? Is Tyrus working with the team? Is he secondary, tertiary working with the team? Does he have connections to? We'll just speculate. You're just being funny with Tyrus. Who are you, Tyrus? Your idol. Tyrus answers, your idol.
You sure about that, Tyrus?
Your idol. You sure about that? Luke in the chat saying ex-MLS player and former almost Chicago Fire player. Not really. Jack Harrison ties it up for Leeds 1-1. How much better would this team be with Porter or Pareja at the helm? I got to ask that. Legend, by the way. MenInRed calling Tyrus a legend. Very true. Awesome to get these two superheroes on the show. Thank you two, gentlemen.
Stop it.
Or I don't know what Tyrus is, but thank you for sure. And thank you, Tyrus, as well. Slow Day's asking, how much better would this team be with Porter or Pareja? Porter or Pareja? Better here.
It'd be a whole different
Porter would have been perfect.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But he wouldn't work with Nelson. That's me totally speculating. I shot from the hip there.
Well, if it was the Porter coaching, it would probably be a different technical director because a guy like Heights would have never signed Porter.
Great.
So it'd be a whole different roster. Different roster.
You know what? Maybe now's the time. We were hinted about it earlier. Let's get into it. Seattle.
Oh God, what is
Porter.
this? Oh, Seattle. Okay, I love this.
If Porter came here, Nelson would have had to have left. Had to have left. And what else would have happened? Or may not have happened, Tyrus. If Porter came, So, if Porter comes here, Nelson would have left, and I'm asking Tyrus right now. Signing. Okay, so here's what we were talking about earlier in the podcast about Seattle. Lagerwey. That signing was about to happen. Garth Lagerwey was about to leave Seattle Sounders, and they're just after winning their championship, and come to the Chicago Fire and get probably 2 jobs. The same exact jobs that Nelson had been holding for the last 3 years, but then all of a sudden got taken off of. GM and president. I think Nelson Lagerwey wanted to be GM and president. You could read articles, him saying this. He wanted to be GM and president together at the same time. Nelson would not relinquish control of both. But they managed to shift Nelson over to presidency, get him off the GM, try to appease Lagerwey. I don't think it was enough. And here's other things. Tyrus is confirming this. Garber gets involved. Garber got involved with this and says the Chicago Fire should not be poaching from MLS teams. So Garth Lagerwey could not come here. The commissioner of the MLS stood in the way of Chicago Fire getting Garth Lagerwey here. There's been so much MLS interference with this team of Chicago. Does MLS really want Chicago to succeed? Because if they really wanted Chicago to succeed, you let Lagerwey go to Chicago.
But on the contrary, just to play devil's advocate, Seattle isn't really a big market, but in MLS, it's one of the big names. So they need Seattle, who have made the playoffs in every single year of their existence, to still be good.
And what happens if they lose Lagerwey?
Probably not. Like, in terms of bringing players in, a totally different skill set. Who knows if Brian Schmetzer will stay? It's just totally different vibe.
They could have brought in Wiki and Heights.
Yeah, and maybe they'd be bottom of the table right now.
Let me read Tyrus's other comment. Also, Nelson to stay to make sure Mansueto's move to Soldier Field and adjustment to being an owner goes well. That's the big reason why Nelson was kept on. Nelson was kept on to stay to make sure that Mansueto's transition and move to Soldier Field and the adjustments to being owner went well, because Nelson had, like it or not, he's had the reins for basically for the better part of the last 4 years. And, he probably does know the best what's going on, even though he's filled with lies, deceit, and he's from Jersey.
Yeah, and he's from Jersey. That's the worst one.
He skis in his jeans.
Don't trust those people from Jersey.
He skis in his jeans. Also, Garber made sure that the option to sack Nelson wasn't even on the table. So Garber interfered to make sure that Nelson stayed here to try and keep some sort of consistency during the change for Mansueto. This is all high-level falutin, high-tier, elite-level business shenanigans. That's wonky and flawed at many levels. It's just a couple selfish people saying, I want my power. That's what it is. I'm just breaking you down politically here. That's what it is on political sciences. That's kind of how it happens. It's all about power. Power, power, power. Bono, bono, bono. Garber. So Garber made sure the option to sack Nelson wasn't even on the table, and that was probably the big stipulation for Lagerwey coming over to the Chicago Fire. Get rid of Nelson. Let me be GM and president, and I'll run your team and make your landing at Soldier Field to be a splash, a cannonball. The Cubs will get wet. The Bears will get wet. The Blackhawks will get wet. And all that wetness will come back to Chicago Fire, and we're the towel that dries you off.
What a great metaphor. I feel inspired. I'm going to write a
Let's
poem.
go. The splash is made. So Sode sound that Nelson had Garber's...
Wait, what?
I can't read it. No,
Can I read
Nelson, it? Nelson had Garber's. He had Nelson's compromised tapes. Garber was compromised. Long story short.
Oh, Nelson has Garber's PP tapes. James, that's what you were laughing at, man?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not the child here, man?
That's so funny. Luke saying nothing happens with players. They have Chris Henderson, who's their technical director. Seattle would have been just fine if Lagerwey came over. Any other Lagerwey stuff? Any other Lagerwey tidbits? Any other Nelson tidbits? And we're going to start knocking it down. Wow, we've had quite a show here. We've been here a long time. Everybody, by the way, thank you so much for joining us and smashing that like button and all that. We greatly appreciate your support, the live chat support, and Splitting Fire fans and Chicago Fire fans, all you guys. Thank you so much. We got 19, 20 people watching live right now. That's awesome. And if everybody donates $1, whew, $20, boom, to Section 8. That's been great. Actually, everybody's been knocking that out of the park. All right, boys and girls, we're going to start winding down here. Everybody in the comments, smash that like button. Ask your final questions here for Tyrus. Thank you, Tyrus, for joining us. Thank you, MenInRed, for joining us. And we'll start kind of looking at the game and shutting down here. Let's start predicting the game here, and we'll start shutting down. Columbus, they're going to beat the Fire today at home.
You want my honest answer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. I would aim for a draw. Get out of last place because I believe we're tied on points with Miami. But
oh God, let's look at that table. Actually, I'll pull up the Chicago Fire, the MLS table. Tyrus
MLS.
being a homer today, he says he thinks the Chicago Fire will win. We play better at home,
We do play better at home.
but we did lose last game at home.
We did lose. That's true.
So Chicago Fire with 8 points.
Oh,
8 points, and DC United has 10 points. That's the bar. DC United in 10th place.
So win gets you over there, especially. Oh no, you're not a game ahead. You still played 10 games.
They're dead set on games. Both 10 games played. Nashville with a game in hand. So Tyrus saying he thinks the Fire win. We play better at home. It's going to be a tight 2-1 win. New England game was unlucky. I wonder if Barrett is going to be starting again. I imagine that's probably the case. You don't have to comment. We don't have to reveal if Porter's watching. Caleb, we're on to you. We're on to you. Calvo will find a way to lose the match. Predict slow days. But think about Calvo. He might find a way to lose the match. He could also find a way to tie it back up. That's the one thing about Calvo. He can produce a little fire to get back into games. 20 viewers, everybody in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. By the way, smash that like button. It really helps transmit this show to other Chicago Fire fans on the YouTube airwaves. That's how the algorithms hit. They see all you people watching. They see all you people, all your screen time watching, and they see you're liking. That means, oh, other people might like this, and they send that on to other Fire fans, and that helps spread the fire, fan the flames. Check out MenInRed on Twitter. He's going to be going live before the game. The game's at 2:30 today.
Yep.
Versus,
I'll be going a half hour before.
He'll probably go on half an hour before, talk a little about the starting lineup, break down what's going on there, and maybe have a few afterthoughts about our chats with Tyrus. This has been awesome. Tyrus revealing a whole lot. We've talked about Crest. We talked about Lagerway. We talked about potential signings. We talked about Terran. Draft betting. Oh, man. Should we get into betting here, Fire fans? Chat. I've got $5 on the Fire win in DraftKings. I think the Fire are an interesting bet sometimes. I mean, they have the talent to beat some of these teams. They do. They have top-end talent, but they're I don't know if they have the ability to put it all together. JVP2.
Hey, James, I got a fun fact for you real quick.
Is it?
This is for all of chat. Velko Ponovic has won his first game in charge of Reading FC by a score of 2-0.
Wow. Who scores?
So, I looked at the player names: Lucas Zhao and Ovi Ageria.
Lucas Zhao. What?
Yeah.
Lucas? I gotta look that guy up.
That's just a fun fact of the day. Watch, he's going to bring that team to the Prem,
Lucas
and then we're all
Zhao
going to be sitting here absolutely
Dude.
crying.
Lucas Zhao is 6'4". I don't know who he is, but he just 6'4". What is he? A striker? Yeah, he's a striker. Awesome.
And Jack Harrison scored for Leeds today. 5 minutes of Fire player. In 2016, when we traded him for the 4th pick, who I believe we got Brandon Vincent for.
Let's take a look at the DraftKings Sportsbook for Chicago Fire. Where's the MLS? Come on, you peeps. Make it easy. MMA, where's soccer? MLS. Here we go. Chicago Fire getting plus 195 odds to win. A tie is getting plus 250, and the Crew are getting plus 128. You're getting money. You're getting money no matter what. You place the right bet, you're gonna win. You could win a couple bucks here. You place the right bet, a tie, couple. I don't know how to do parlays. Parlays are always a fickle business. If we could get some betting people on here talk parlays, they would always say parlays is a sucker bet.
Parlays are just really bold.
And by the way, to all our under 21 viewers, I don't think you can gamble. So I don't think you could, but you can legally gamble in Illinois now if you're over 21, right? On DraftKings.
I think so. Yeah.
can.
Some states it's 18.
Some states 18, and it's
Yeah.
got to be 18 because of the casinos, right? I don't know. Maybe it's 18.
Illinois. It's 18 for
Hey,
Illinois.
If you go fight for our country, and you should be able to.
Yeah, should be able to put a little bit money on the Chicago
Should be able to
Fire.
bet a little money on Chicago Fire. Totally agree. Luke Matthews saying, yeah, Reading is going to have a good team in the championship this year. They have a good squad. So they're saying the Fire players and coaches always do better elsewhere. Very, very true. Let's check in on Tyrus. Tyrus, thank you so much for joining us. Calvo is the David Luiz of MLS. Great attacking, terrible at focusing. That is so accurate, Tyrus. So accurate. Calvo is the David Luiz because it's like there's days you want him on your team, and there's most days you don't.
Yeah.
All right,
Arsenal
folks.
sucks.
Arsenal. Oh, my God. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for joining. Check out the Fire. They're going to be on TUDN and Univision live at 2:30 p.m. today, Saturday. Thank you so much, Tyrus, for joining us. Thank you so much, MenInRed, for joining us, taking the time. Everybody smash that like button. I keep asking. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, it really fans the flames, helps spread the word to other Fire fans. You do your part, we do ours, right? We're all in this together. And it's awesome to have our Fire community, especially just to see the way they've showed up for the food drive. Incredible work, everyone. Awesome.
Good stuff.
Smashed it. I had never updated like we were informed it would, so I don't know what the actual numbers are, but it's good. It's looking good. Greatly appreciate your help there. Subscribe to Spitting Fire YT on YouTube. Check us out. We're also available on After the Fact. I always put our shows on After the Fact on the podcast apps. And MenInRed, what's going on with your podcast?
Still work in progress. Got a little kinks to work out, but it's coming. I know I've said that a couple times now. It's coming.
And I'm going to shout out the other podcasts. We got all the links in the description. All the other Chicago Fire podcasts. What is it? High tide raises all ships. Everybody. That's how it works, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So support your Chicago Fire network. Support your Chicago Fire media people. That includes the independent broadcasters, the independent podcasters like me, MenInRed, and all the other people out there. And awesome. Thank you so much for joining us every day. You guys are amazing. Your support for the Chicago Fire and for Tyrus and for all of us is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully Chicago Fire get a win. I'm not so positive. Tyrus is.
Tyrus is?
Tyrus is. He says 2-1 win. The New England game was unlucky. I'm going to ask Tyrus for his last thoughts. I'm sure he's going to have to get going. We'll all get going. Thank you so much for joining us. That was awesome. I've been talking with Tyrus for years about getting him on the show, and we've always schemed about how we would do it. We're like, how could we do this? How could we get Tyrus on the show? Keep their anonymity. We thought about trying voice mods, but
that'd be so funny.
But the voice mods, they could be descrambled. And the Chicago Fire could literally descramble the voice mod and find out who Tyrus is after that. And they're after him. They're after Tyrus, whoever Tyrus is. They want to know who it is. They message him. They message him on the back channel. We're after you. We're looking. They got the magnifying glass out. They're like the private eyes going.
Sherlock Holmes of the MLS.
The private eyes in MLS are going. Sam Stexel, Paul Tenorio. Let's see. Tyrus saying must win or we're in huge trouble. Absolutely. This is a must-win match. There's 10 games. This will be the 11th, and there's only 23 games left in this. I mean, there's only 23 games total in the season. All the games that we played in the tournament count for the record. Did you know that, MenInRed?
I did.
Yep.
The group stage ones.
All the group stage ones, correct. The group stage matches count for your record. That's why they had to have the other teams make up their games, the two teams that were COVIDed, kicked out. Tyrus saying that not must win to make the playoffs, but it's a must win to make something positive happen because they need something positive happen badly. They need a change. They need a change of fortune right now because they're sitting in last place, and it's a little the spirit in the locker room. It's still it needs a firecracker. It needs a firework.
Absolutely, no question about it.
Everybody, thank you guys. Thank you, Slow Days. Thank you, JB2. Thanks, Luke. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Thank you, let's see, Nate. Just checking to see who else was in here. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, other Mike. We got 2 mics in here. Dimer and Domeska. And everybody in the chat and everybody who was or was not commenting. Thank you, Tyrus. Thank you, MenInRed. Awesome show. Incredible stuff we were learning. Crest, Lagerway, all that jazz. Very, very cool. Tyrus saying, thank you for having me. Thank you for taking the time, Tyrus. Thank you for being David Foster Wallace in the chat. Seriously, they're typing all their responses. I keep saying he. I don't know if it's a he or a she. I do not know. It's just easier for me to say that because Tyrus. But anyway, everyone, please make sure to Tyrus. One last shot saying, everyone, please make sure you donate what you can. Every dollar counts. I've donated. Tyrus has donated. We've all donated a couple bucks. Honestly, you're making a big dent to fight hunger. We greatly appreciate you. Every single person who donates a couple. We've seen quite a few Fire fan and FYT chat people in the chat. They tweeted at me. They've sent me some confirmations. Thank you so much for doing so. Greatly appreciate you doing your part. And supporting the Chicago Fire like this, and supporting our Chicago Fire community like this. So everybody donate what you can. We'll start shutting it down. MenInRed, we'll check you out. We'll have your stuff in the description.
Sounds good.
You'll be
Thank
going
you.
live around 2.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, James. Always appreciate it.
Dude, what an awesome show. Guys, it's awesome. I got to say, I just want to say last thing. I greatly appreciate you guys. It is awesome having you guys come here, check out SFYT, and support us like this. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Greatly appreciate it. It makes me feel like, we're doing something good here. It doesn't feel like my show. It feels like our show. It's just like the big thing for Chicago Fire. I mean, where else can you find this stuff? We got some awesome podcasts out there too, though. So you can find it. It's out there. We got Jiggly. We got Jiggly running Sad Boys. We got TJ running Dad in the Van Pod, which is hilarious. We got Campbell running his cool pod, bringing some cool Chicago Fire people too, like Tony Miola. We got some good people out there, and we got Northlot Pod. And we got MenInRed here, also keeping the news up and doing his Twitter thing. I love your pregame Twitter chats, dude.
Thanks, man. I like them too. They're a good time.
Dude, they're a good time. All right, brothers and sisters, thank you so much for joining us. Go fire it up. We'll check you guys later. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm gonna hit some music, and we will dip out. Thank you, everybody.
All good?
Oh, we're
Still. Hi, everyone. Who's ready to stream?